You know better than I do, so I could go home. Sorry, I'm a bit late, but Italians are always late, so you cannot complain.
We can't complain.
No? What is the first thing that comes to your mind if I say Italy?
Food.
Food.
Delicious.
Food. Okay. What? Oh, hello. Food. What else?
Design.
Design.
History.
History.
Many fashion.
Fashion. Popular or famous around the world. But actually, in Japan, I was surprised the first time I came to Japan that if I say Italy, everybody likes it. I don't know why. Many people have good images of Italy. I'm not sure if it's just a stereotype or something real, because I'm sure that the image that many Japanese people have in their minds about Italy is not really the same as real Italy. So I'm always interested in Japanese people who have been to Italy to ask if, you know, what they had in their minds was like the real Italy, or if they were pleasantly surprised, or they were saying like, for 3 hours and you just cross. But this also means that historically we were very close to the rest of Europe. But at the same time we were also close to the Arab world. So this has influenced architecture, it has influenced design, it has influenced culture. So Italy is some kind of mixture between Europe itself, but also the rest of the Mediterranean world. So this is Japan. Japan has always been here. You know, you can always say Japan for all history. In Italy at this time, there was the Roman Empire, do you know? Roma Tegku. And then after that, there was a long period, more than 1,000 years, that Italy was divided into many small countries. A lot of them. I cannot tell you about this because it's too complicated. Even Italian people don't really know. Small countries, they were fighting each other, then they were marrying each other, then they were fighting again, and then the foreigners were coming, Austria, and then France, and then Spain, and then the Arabs, and it was a very complicated thing. So there was no Italy, there were many countries. Big confusion. And then, just 154 years ago, Italy becomes Italy. There is Italy. So Japan, 2,700 years more or less. Italy, 154 years.
Baby.
Now we have a republic. Hello, ciao. So the Italian Republic is what, 70 years old. So why am I saying this? I think that Italians, when they think of their past, it's not like Japan. You know, if I think of Michelangelo, he lived in the 1500s years, so 600 years ago, he lived in this period. There was no Italy. Of course, he was Italian because he was living in that area, but he was not Italy. He would not call himself Italian because there was no Italy. There are many Japanese, and there are around 3,000 Italians working in Japan now, more or less, 3,000. It's not so many, but if we all gather up, it's going to be a big meeting. There are more Japanese in Italy. 8,000 Japanese are working in Italy long term. What do they do? Mainly teachers. When I was studying Japanese in university, all my professors were Japanese. They married to Italians, or they liked Italy, they liked Europe, so they moved to Europe when they were young, and then they started being Japanese teachers in Italy. Otherwise, they can be Japanese company employees who are just sent to Italy for a period. Tour guides, and then many musicians and opera singers, actually. In my hometown, Parma, it's not a very big city, so there are a few Japanese people, and many of the Japanese people are actually studying opera or violin, because you know, the people who are interested in these things, Italy can be a good option to learn firsthand. Also, we don't have new gakushiken. Everybody can go to university, and it's very easy to get in. Just subscribe and start going to classes. But it's very difficult to graduate. If you don't study for 4 years, then you will never graduate. So in Japan, it's the opposite way around, right? You need to study a lot during high school to pass your new gakushiken. If you pass the new gakushiken, it's done. You are one seito of this school. You are in the club, and you will graduate. In Italy, it's the opposite way around. It's very easy to get into a university. It's very difficult to graduate. To graduate, you need to write a very big longbun, a very big thesis. And for example, in my university, around 3/4 of the people who started my year did not graduate. And you have your own room. I think this is because many houses in Japan are small. So if you want to have 10 guests, it's not really easy to have them all over your own place, because your place is not too big. Whereas in Italy, when people go out, it's because they want to meet other people. So we never have the koshitsu. We never have like one private place that you can rent. You always have an open space. So either an open restaurant, or when it's spring or summer and it's warm enough, people like to just stay out in squares or in the streets, drink out in the public areas. This is also something that, I don't know, all the Japanese people in Italy that I know really enjoy this kind of lifestyle. If I'm talking about something and the other person does not believe me, or what's this? Means perfect. Good. If I come to your house for dinner and you ask me, how was the meal? No need to say anything else. It was good. What does this mean? For example, I had an exam this morning, and you can ask me, was the exam okay? Mondai nashi. What's this? That's the opposite. How was the exam today? Not very good. What's this? How was the movie? Boring. So it's kind of true. Oh, for example, what do you think about Italy? What do you think about going to Italy next month? I couldn't care less. I'm not interested.
Pisa?
Yeah, not pizza, but Pisa. Famous for this tower, which is not really straight. It used to be straight when it was built, but then it slowly started falling. So 10 years ago I was here, and they actually put some ropes to bring it up a little, because it was leaning so much that they thought it was about to fall. Now it looks it's okay for the moment. Maybe in another 10 years they will need to take it up again. The reason is not that they built it wrongly, but the ground here is not the best place. They chose the wrong place to build it. So the ground is very, how do you say, muddy, and it's gonna fall. Yeah, and this is quite close to Florence actually. It's just 1 hour away. Federica, thank you very much.